What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today we are going to be showcasing how you can farm high-tier Episode Heresy weapons within the Nether. I'm talking pre-masterworked and adept versions of these weapons, and I've got a crazy glitch to show you guys that will let you do it easily even if you're solo. And so, let's get started. Now, first of all, when we're talking about the different heresy weapon tiers, that is an important subject. I did a whole video on it if you want to see like the specific breakdown of the different tiers, but in layman's terms, there's 4 different versions of Episode Heresy weapons. You have the normal versions, then you have the pre-masterworked version with double perks, including double origin traits, that's very important. Then you have the adept versions, and then you have the masterworked adept versions, the rarest version of all. Importantly, for some of these heresy weapons like the Psychopump Arc Grenade Launcher, you really want to get in the higher rarity tiers because they rely on that second origin trait, Runneth Over, that only spawns in the pre-masterworked version for the God Roll, for a bigger magazine size, right? So again, getting access to these higher rarity tiers is very, very important. So, the first thing you need to do is select what version of the Nether you're going to play. You have Exploration Mode, the normal Adventure difficulty, and then you have Expert. And guys, Expert is 100% the way to go when it comes to getting these higher rarity tiers of weapons. But honestly, Expert has been scaring people away just because it's called Expert, and in the tooltip, it says things are going to be more difficult. The enemies are going to be a lot more challenging. So many people I've heard from have said they haven't even bothered with Expert. Guys, this is a bait. I am telling you, the enemies you're going to be facing actually are significantly harder, but only at the end of the activity. The way the Nether works is as follows. When you load into a certain area, you have one of 3 different locations within the Dreadnought you can spawn into, and when you initially spawn in, you're always going to fight enemies that are relatively on par with your light level. You are not going to be at a significant light level disadvantage even on Expert, and you can see in the background gameplay, all of this gameplay is Expert. And there's not a single sword symbol which indicates enemies are at a higher level in any of this gameplay. Now that's only going to come up when you beat that first boss and then go through a portal to another location of the Dreadnought. Then the enemies are going to become much higher level and things are going to get much more difficult. So guys, regardless of whether you're solo or in a fire team, the most efficient thing you can do for farming is, again, put it up to Expert difficulty and then only kill the first boss and then just restart. Kill the first boss, restart. That is going to prevent you from facing those higher tier over-leveled enemies, and that is where things get more difficult. Now, there may be some correlation between those, further Nether locations. Like once you get to the 3rd location, you're fighting the hardest enemies, maybe you'll get a slightly increased quality of loot drops, but I haven't really noticed much of it. I'm still getting tons of adept heresy weapons from the very first chest from killing the very first boss. And then we get into some strategy. So if you are really going into farm, something we did actually learn was that you want to be ignoring the random chests. They seem to not drop very high quality gear. Even on Expert difficulty, you're really not going to get adept weapons from these chests. Even the chests that you have to pay 2 of your essences for, again, you're almost always just going to get those normal base tier heresy weapons, and that's really not what we're going for. So we've found the more efficient approach is to just absolutely tunnel vision on the 3 different objectives, unlock the boss, and kill the boss as quickly as possible. That's all you want to do. Do not waste time searching for these chests. However, you do want to make sure your Tome of Want is active because you're going to be getting extra drops for no extra effort. With that being said, I've never gotten an adept from the Tome of Want, only a pre-masterworked is the best thing I've ever gotten. Now, in addition to that, guys, here is some gear you can use to blitz through the Nether, even if you're solo, and we'll get to that in a sec. So, in terms of your weapons, there's 3 main options you should choose from. First of all, fusion rifles. Something like this scatter signal right here is fantastic. It's going to be a rapid fire frame with a fantastic DPS oriented roll of overflow plus controlled burst, and it's strand. So because of our seasonal artifact perk, we can easily get it unraveling rounds and then also make it spawn threadlings for shooting unraveled targets. Not to mention, mainly you're using a fusion rifle for particle reconstruction, which is going to massively increase your damage output with these weapons. Like you can with the scatter signal or any other fantastic DPS oriented fusion rifle dominate enemies you face. And importantly, there are going to be enemy champions you are facing within the expert version of the Nether, and they're almost always unstop. In fact, I can't even think of a single time I've not seen an unstop, so using a fusion rifle lets you easily put on unstop like fusions, and there you go, you got that covered. Now, aside from that, your next option here is machine guns. So something like this Thunderlord here, the Thunderlord got a big buff in episode Heresy, and this thing absolutely rips. A machine gun is going to let you not only have fantastic ad clear, but when you do face a more powerful enemy, something like a Tormentor or even a boss, it does provide a lot of precision damage as well, guys. And again, you have some fantastic seasonal artifact perks for machine guns. Overload machine guns is great, especially because it will exhaust enemies you shoot, so they will do less damage to you. But mainly you have Hold the Line, which will actually make machine guns heal you when you're surrounded for getting final blows. And then lastly, Heavy Ordnance Regeneration will increase your damage resistance when using machine guns and doing continuous fire, and improve your ability regen. So all of that is fantastic. And then really the third option here, guys, is linear fusion rifles. And the main thing here is the Queenbreaker. If you have the Queenbreaker, and especially if you did get that catalyst, this thing rips so incredibly hard. You can solo bosses even on expert, and you can decimate every powerful enemy you come across. Now, if you don't have this, remember, there's a bunch of different loadouts involving these 3 options. So you can use a legendary linear fusion rifle, something like this Strand Scintillation right here with rewind plus bait and switch. That's going to crank, and then that frees up your exotic slot, so hey, why not put on the Arbalest? Both of those weapons are going to benefit from particle reconstruction, and it will let you decimate single targets. But hey, if your single target damage is good from the Arbalest, then that lets you switch to a fantastic legendary machine gun like the Pro Memoria or even the Hammerhead right here. There is no shortage of great machine guns, great linears, and great fusion rifles you can choose from. Now, apart from that, just put on a fantastic PvE build. What you're going to see me doing in the background gameplay is using my Arc Striker Titan Bolt Charge build. Here's the link right up above if you want to copy that build. But this thing was fantastic, again, even solo. So for that cheesy solo strat, you want to load into expert difficulty Nether until you get the Trenchway. Now, at this point, you will need to just do the 3 opening activities as normal, and that's why I took the time to go over like the fantastic weapons and so on you can use, because you're gonna need to have a good loadout to get this stuff done. Now, honestly, it's really not that bad, even solo. Like, again, I'm doing it in the background gameplay. If you do have a rock solid build and some good weapons, you can easily get this done, especially because you have 9 revive tokens. Focus on getting the objectives done. Like, if you have a capture zone, yeah, if you die a couple of times, no big deal. As long as you get it to 100%, that's what you need. In fact, you can die pretty much, as much as you want, because you're not gonna die during the boss. Here's why. Specifically with the Trenchway, once you get those 3 objectives done and you unlock that Tormentor boss, as you can see right here, you want to go to this particular portal on the stairway. And what you want to do is slowly inch forward, like go forward the tiniest bit at a time. Like I'm on mouse and keyboard, so I'm pressing W, just touching it, like W, 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 seeing I can inch forward. And if you're on console, obviously just inch forward that thumbstick, because eventually you will go through this portal and you don't want to move like an inch further than you need to. You will teleport through and then you stay still. as you can see, as long as you don't move forward anymore, the enemies ignore you. They do not attack you, they don't do anything. Both the Tormentor boss and the enemies that spawn next to him. Now, there may be random roaming enemies behind these guys. As you can see, they will actually shoot you, but as long as you don't actually move, no one else will attack you. And this means if you're on that Striker Titan build, I recommended you put down your Rally Barricade so you can get Bolt Charge, and then you just crank the boss. And guys, you can solo kill the boss easily, as you can see right here. And then boom, there is your expert difficulty solo nether done. I run over, grab the chest, and look, I get 2 adept swords, 2 adept drops for not taking a single lick of damage during that entire boss fight. Now, I also tried it with a machine gun. I used the Thunderlord right here, and unfortunately, I didn't quite do enough damage with the Thunderlord in order to get like the outright kill. So definitely, like, you may need to slightly alter your loadout and you use a linear fusion rifle in order to guarantee that boss kill. I didn't even have max ammo with the Queenbreaker and I still killed the boss. That shows you how crazy that gun is. But even if you're using, you know, a machine gun or whatever, you're gonna get the boss down so low that combined with a super or just kiting him around and doing some primary damage or whatever, he will die not too long after. Certainly it's a lot easier than doing this boss fight legit. And so with that strat, guys, focusing on that expert difficulty, using those recommended items and loading in specifically to the Trenchway and doing this glitch, you can pretty efficiently solo farm those higher tier Heresy weapons. And guys, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.